Is this from the Indian side?
Other countries' mediators.
Finders.
There is a tendency to consider these downed planes as a victory and to close the matter in this way.
Would he add it as a victory, and would he swallow it?
Now, you just heard me say... When I was telling Jasper, I was told that there is an air of retaliation in Pakistan against someone I wrote about. Retaliation is thought to be necessary, despite mediators, and that means retaliation. We always say limited in a region, for example, in the Kashmir region, hitting the bases of Indian military infrastructure, or in Punjab, in Rajasthan, as I said, right next door. It can be limited to a heavy hitting of those places, but ultimately, Pakistan, in a nutshell, he is in a mood to hit India. As I said, there is a section of the mediators who are saying to Pakistan, you know the planes you shot down? They belong to the Indian Air Force. Take this as a victory so that this can be settled. But once again, when we look at relationships at work, this water agreement, the Indus Water Agreement, and other agreements will obviously be renewed again. After all, let me also contribute to this issue of power. So here Pakistan, in a possible situation between India and India, India will be a little bit alone. Because here, one of the most trusted countries is the United States of America. I'd like to offer him a possible support, both in terms of transportation and distance. They may be a little late, but Pakistan's access, first, in the unlikely event that Turkey, air bridge, the second is China. Pakistan will have more support from other countries. If military support is requested in such a situation, don't just look at it as ammunition. You said something very true.
When we think of the United States of America, we think that it can go everywhere very fast.
When you say,
because this is what is imposed on us, that the United States is everywhere.
Yesterday, President Erdogan has already said something. He said we will do whatever we can. He also said we will give support. I mean...
We support law and order policy, he said. I know that you will do everything you can to escalate tensions.
I think Turkey is also a state in some way. Yes, the reasons that led to the establishment of these countries in the region, which I explained at the beginning of this broadcast, the British Sirs created a country by dividing and dividing. And then they divided Afghanistan in between as a buffer zone. They created such a map. That is how he divided India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. The country, frankly speaking, the British are now, a century later, playing the role of mediator for the two countries to find war, so-called peace initiatives. It is also a strange fact. A matter of 100 years ago, you are trying to calm the tones you planted 100 years ago, 100 years later. So we're trying to reap one, grow one, water one.
We are thinking, I wonder if it's a seed of discord.
Well, a century ago, of course, we talk about all kinds of intelligence. We talk about this, we talk about that. But for example, there is no news about the British intelligence MI6. There is nothing. It's quiet. You can only see what he eats and what he does in the field. That's why I don't think it will last long, let me tell you frankly, but Pakistan is in the mood for a fierce retaliation, and I know you want to make it happen. Pakistan's fast as
At least you don't think it's going to evolve into a protracted war, and you think it's going to end at the beginning of the week next week. At the end of the week, it's going to be stuck
and the issue
in
is
Kashmir.
We'll establish it. Anyway, always in Kashmir, there are two places in Kashmir. There is a valley and there is a mountainous part. In the mountainous part, there is nothing to do here. Mr. Ilyas also told us. In other words, there is a difference in training between the troops of the Indian army in that valley and the troops and outposts in the mountains. That's why Indian soldiers are constantly ambushed there, Sumaya, as all the time. The terrain is not so perfect either. It's mountainous. It's called mountainous Kashmir. They are constantly ambushed, and every time they are killed, 20 Indian soldiers are killed. So it's not 10, it's 15, 20. They ambush the convoy. There are already 30 people in a truck. They have no training. The ones in the valley are a bit more trained. The ones in the mountainous areas are less trained. Now there they were already exchanging gunfire. They were firing artillery, but the only difference now, it's getting more violent. it is more violent than the conflict in 1900. Here now we are finding it a bit difficult to get to the truth because of media manipulation.
You didn't say that some of the images in the footage were not real.
India has long had a fifth picture war against Pakistan.
Is it?
Disinformation. It's always about Pakistan. They produce disinformative content.
In their own public opinion all the time.
For example, the images that they say they shot, that they say Pakistan is on fire, are more or less all from Gaza. In other words, images stemming from their internal fascism and occupation. They even shared images from Syria, from 2020. They shared an image of an airplane that crashed or made an emergency landing due to technical failure. So Indian trolls are like no other troll army in the world. Are they sticking? Send me a message. Like a bunch of grapes underneath. They stick like gum. I mean, may it never happen to anyone. I've seen it a few times. They lynch them and pull them out. They drag them out into the pine. They're weird. They are doing the same now against Pakistan. There is incredible disinformation on social media. And in software, hardware, you know that the Indians has a presence in global companies. When you add that to the mix, when you combine this Indian nationalism, people are trying to get the real news right now. There is constant disinformation. But in the end, I will tell you. Pakistan to India. If this silent diplomacy I just mentioned is not successful, Pakistan will sternly reprimand India in the next hour. Punjab, Rajasthan, Kashmir. Maybe after that there will be a break in the ice and the matter will be closed.